If you're taking my Crochet Amigurumi class and you've never crocheted before, don't fret. Even though it is listed as an intermediate class, you really only need a few stitches, and I think you can get those down pat in an afternoon even. Practice between now and the class, and I'll show you what stitches you need, and I think you'll be fine. You really just need some worsted weight yarn. You can use anything bulky, you can use any weight, but worsted weight is a pretty common and easily findable weight. And then you'll need a corresponding hook. Now the package of your yarn will tell you what size hook to use. Right now, I'm not even worried about hook size or yarn size. Let's just get you started learning stitches. First thing you're going to do is take the tail of your yarn and we're going to make a slip knot. So we're going to tie it as if we're going to tie a knot, but instead of pulling the tail all the way through, we're going to leave that loop. So I'll do that again. You're going to tie it like you're going to tie a knot, but don't pull your tail through because that would make a knot. You're going to leave your tail in the loop and only pull it tight with the tail in the knot. One more time. Tie a knot. And you can use your hook to pull that loop up and tighten it up. Now you don't want to keep your yarn too tight. Don't worry about keeping it real firm and stiff and tight. Just keep it loose. So the yarn goes over your pinky, under your ring, over your middle, and around your pointer. And I hold it with my middle finger and my thumb. So I'm going to hold that knot right there. And the first thing you need to know is how to chain. So a chain is your foundation, and it's the first, it's not even a row, it's your foundation. It's like laying down a nice flat surface before you start to lay bricks. So we're going to go from left behind the yarn to the right and pull that through the loop on the hook. Left to right, like you're reading. Keep moving your thumb and middle finger up close to the hook, left to right behind, I've got a loose grip on my hook, and you can use that flat surface to hold on to it. That also helps you move its direction. If you're holding it in the circular part, in the round part, it might not be as easy to hold its direction, but if you hold it in the flat part, you can really direct where your hook is going. So left to right and pull it through. This will take practice, and that's okay. The good thing about crochet is that you can always rip it out. So let's do that again. Make a knot. And yarn woven in your fingers. Middle finger, thumb holding the knot, and left to right behind the yarn, and pull it through. This part takes practice because sometimes that hook wants to get caught on your stitching. So if you're getting caught, make sure you're turning your hook. Essentially, this loop makes a teardrop shape, and your hook matches that teardrop shape. So turn your hook so that the teardrop shape matches the teardrop of the yarn. And keep doing this. You can keep doing this until you feel comfortable with it. Just keep going. Don't try for speed. Try for consistency, and until it's just kind of like second nature to you. So I would definitely do that until you feel comfortable with it. Now that we've laid our foundation, we need to actually start building bricks. So a single crochet gives us height, and it is what we will make our amigurumi out of. So we're going to start with a single crochet, and the name is a little misleading because in American terms we call it single crochet, but it's a two-step stitch. So the first step is going to be picking up a stitch. So we're going to ignore the one on the hook and skip the first chain. So if you look at the top of your chain, you've got loops along the top edge. We're going to skip the first one, skip this one, and put our hook into the second loop. And technically you can put it into 2 of the loops or just that top loop. And now we're going to do the same yarn over. This is called a yarn over that you were doing on your chain. That left to right is a yarn over. So we're going to yarn over and pull through just 1 loop, and then yarn over and pull through both. Don't worry, we'll keep doing this. So we're going to the very next loop. And sometimes these can be hard to decipher, especially if you pull this one really tight and it tightens this one up. But that's okay, just go to the next one you can find, and the finding stitches will come easier in time. So hook into the next loop, yarn over, pull through just the loop of the chain, and then yarn over and pull through both loops on the hook. And my finger, middle finger and thumb are holding my work close to my hook, and I'm kind of feeling along as I go with them as well. So in each chain you made, you will make a single crochet. So hook into chain, yarn over, pull through just the chain, and then yarn over and pull through both loops. And again, this is going to take practice, and that's okay. So continue down your chain until you get back to the beginning. And then the last chain is the one right next to the knot. Now we're at the end of our chain, at the end of our chain. And so we've laid our first row of bricks. So now we need to lay our second row. So in order to get up to the second row, we have to do a chain 1. So pull the yarn through the loop on the hook, that's a chain 1, and we're going to turn our work and work back the way we came. So this is the second row of bricks that we're going to add on now. Now in amigurumi, typically and traditionally, you work through 2 loops of your single crochet. So if you turn your work and look at it from the top, like look, no Luda, I have a cat trying to play with yarn. If you turn your work and look at the top, kind of like you're looking straight down on that wall of bricks. Actually, my yarn is pretty appropriately colored, isn't it? So look at the top of the wall of bricks and you'll see hearts. So each heart is a single crochet stitch. So there's a heart, there's a heart, and you can count your hearts, you can watch for hearts all the way down. So we're going to work into the hearts. This time we will... Cats, I tell you. This time we will work in the first stitch. So put your hook into the first stitch, pick up both sides of the heart, yarn over. See, we're still doing that yarn over left to right behind the yarn. Pull it through and yarn over, pull through both. So the motion is the same. This is still a single crochet, In this case though, we are putting our hook into 2 loops, both sides of the heart, instead of just 1 loop of the chain. So step 1, step 2, step 1, step 2. And again, don't worry about tension, don't worry about, if it's too tight or too loose. Get this motion down. Step 1, step 2. And it becomes fluid. So you need to think of each step. Hook into the stitch, hook behind the thread and pull it through, hook behind the thread and pull it through, but it becomes fluid over time. That takes practice. But at this point, I just want you familiar with the steps and with the stitches. Rotate your hook as needed to make it slide through your stitches. If it's getting caught somewhere, you need to rotate your hook so that it fits through its slot. Keep your thumb and middle finger close to your work. Don't try and hold it out here and work up here. That's just miserable. I'm really moving forward with each stitch, so I'm constantly moving my thumb and middle finger with each stitch. Okay, now your last stitch works the same as the last on the chain. There's a little knot right there, and you're just going to work in the last 2 legs of the heart. And same thing again, we need to get up to the next row of bricks. So chain 1, turn your work and work back in the other direction. Work that first stitch and keep going. You can count your stitches, and that'll give you a really good indication of if you are working consistently and if you are putting a single crochet in each stitch or a brick on top of each brick. This would not be a very strong wall if it was real bricks, because we're putting a brick exactly on top of a brick. They're not really staggered bricks, so we'll still go with it, but don't use it for actual architecture. So that's really all there is to it. Amigurumi typically uses just chains and single crochet, and for that matter mostly single crochet. So practice this. Just keep practicing. You can use this to make a pot holder or a face washcloth if you really want to work towards a goal, if you're the kind of person that needs an actual project. Or if you're not, you can just make a chain as long as you want and keep working on that. So practice, and I think you'll get it down, and I will see you in class.